Good morning to my friends. It is Saturday morning, and we are going to talk some box scores. And first, I'm going to tell you that, can you hear me? Tell me that you can hear me. Leonard, do you have any sound? Can you see me? Can you hear me and see me? Okay. Anyway, the San Diego and San Francisco game was canceled yesterday due to COVID, and it's going to be canceled again today. A Giants player tested positive, and we don't know who it is, but they think that they got it from family or a friend in San Diego, is what they're saying. So it's interesting because the game wasn't even postponed. I mean, they must just really have it go down to the wire when they're getting these tests back, because they didn't even postpone the game until it was literally like minutes before the first pitch, and players were already on the field. They were already lined up to do their tribute to and moment of silence for the people that we lost on 9/11. And all of a sudden it's just like, okay, they're not playing now. So I don't know if it's just odd that they wait so late, and it's so bad for people in fantasy, because especially for DFS, like, how are you going to know? How are you supposed to like sit there and babysit your teams all through the night? And you would think that, I know that they don't play baseball for fantasy people. I know that they don't like, make decisions based on what is going to happen to somebody's DFS team, but I still think that it would be considerate to postpone the game before the players are already on the field. So anyway, there's been no decision about tomorrow's finale at Petco Park, but it also will likely be postponed. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be postponed. Like, what's the purpose if you're only going to cancel 2 games? So that was the first time in 12 days that a major league player tested positive for COVID. And it comes just 2.5 weeks before the start of postseason. And both of these teams have a good chance of getting into the postseason since they're expanded this year and stuff. But there's been 45 regular season games postponed this season due to positive COVID tests. And MLB is still seeking approval to have all the players, even those playing at home games, to stay isolated at the hotel in the final week of the regular season. And that's just hoping to prevent any positive tests, because obviously at that point you can't postpone games anymore, and it would really disrupt the postseason should they have to. They're asking that family members get quarantined for at least 7 days before joining the players in the postseason. And I mean, like, some of the teams, some of the players are like, nah, I don't really want to be away from my family for that long. And I think to myself, like, how much money are you getting paid? You only have to do this for 60 games this year. I don't get what's so hard about it. Like, that's the job that you do. That's what you get paid to do. And you need to stay quarantined if that's what's going to get you through the baseball season. It's only a few more. I mean, it's such a short period of time in the big scheme of things that your family will live. I promise your family will live without you, or you will live without your family for a couple weeks. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for that. Just, it doesn't seem that hard to me. So these 2 teams, they finished the season with 3 games against each other in San Francisco. So they will have an opportunity to make up these games, and they're definitely going to have to make them up too, because it's just not something that I mean, neither of these teams are out of the playoffs, so it's important for both teams. So anyway, let's get started on the box scores from last night. Start with the Yankees and the Orioles. So Garrett Cole comes out yesterday. He's got his juju back to make things short. He pitched his second complete game, although it was a 7-inning game. No, wait a minute. Yeah, because they played Baltimore twice yesterday. So I'm assuming these are 7-inning games, both of them. Cole shut out the Orioles, made up for his recent. he hasn't had a great streak lately. It was his 10th start on the Yankees and his first, which he didn't allow a home run. So he's basically allowed a home run in all 10 of his starts since he's been a Yankee. And he allowed 6 home runs over 16 innings in his previous 3 starts. So that was coming off of a 28 start regular season that he was and had an unbeaten streak dating to last season with the Astros. So anyway, he pitched excellent yesterday, of course. And the Yankees, it was so nice to see the Yankees and the Mets honoring the New York police, like the first responders from 9/11, the first responders, the fire department, the police department. It was just nice to see that at a time like this. And Alex Cobb, he returned from the injured list. He was out since the 4th of September. Undisclosed reasons, which is odd. Obviously, it wasn't COVID, or he would still be out. But he threw 5 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs in 4 innings. Nobody expected him to go late in the game anyway. But Renato Nunez and Hanser Alberto were the only Orioles to get hits yesterday against Garrett Cole. And what else? DJ LeMahieu batting leadoff, his 4th leadoff home run of the season. Brett Gardner hit a home run. Higashioka, 2-run home run. No hits were allowed until the 5th. And like I said before, when Garrett Cole entered last night's game, he was on a 3-game losing streak. So his last 3 starts, he lost. He was 0-3 with a 5.63 ERA. So it's nice for Yankees fans to see Garrett Cole coming back, and that's a pretty big deal. So then, of course, the Yankees go into the game 2 against the Orioles, and they beat them 10-1. So they swept the doubleheader. Now they have a 3-game winning streak, which is saying something considering how bad they were hitting just a couple days ago. Keenan Allen made his 2nd career start in the majors. And basically he had 15 strikeouts in 13 innings entering yesterday's game. And Tanaka, his 8th start yesterday, that was his 3rd start on 4 days rest. Last Sunday, he allowed 4 runs, but only 2 of them were earned in 5 1/3 against Baltimore. Garrett Cole, I'm going back to Garrett Cole because I put some notes for Garrett Cole in here in the wrong game, but he got 27 swings and misses. Okay, 27. That's yesterday. You just don't see that. That's the 4th most swings and misses in any game of his career, including the playoff games that he's been in. And Luke Voit, if the Yankees were playing a full season, okay, Luke Voit would be on pace for 57 home runs, and he's tied right now with Mike Trout for the most home runs in the majors. So yeah, he's on pace, like 162 game season, 57 home runs. Luke Voit, been really good. Let's get off the Yankees game. Hi to everybody in the chat room. Thanks for joining me, all you friends. How nice. It's so nice to see you. Look it. Okay. Lenny was telling me to be prepared for nobody to come to the chat room, and I'm like, I really don't care if people come, because I mean, I do like having you guys, but it's less stressful like when nobody's watching. It just is. I get a lot of anxiety every time I do a show. I don't know why, because I've been doing shows for so long, but I still get anxiety every time. It is what it is. I think if you lose that anxiety, like if you start to do shows, you don't have any anxiety at all, it's boring, or like it's not exciting. So the fact that I do get nervous still it just shows that I still enjoy doing shows. The Phillies beat Miami 11-0. Unbelievable. In fact, the relievers that Phillies traded for, they have faced 115 batters. The batting average against these 4 relievers is .364. That's like horrible, basically horrible. These 4 relievers that the Phillies traded for. But Nola, love it. Yay, Aaron Nola. His last start was ruined because the Philadelphia defense is no bueno. But he's having a good season. He's having a great season. I am super pleased with Aaron Nola for the season. He's allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 5 of his 8 starts. That was heading into last night. Last night, 3 hits allowed, no walks, 10 strikeouts. He hit 2 batters. That wasn't great, but 7 scoreless innings. And he's only the second pitcher since 1893 when the mound was moved to its current distance from home plate with a complete game shutout of 7 or less innings with 10 or more strikeouts. Vida Blue did that in 1971, pitching for Oakland against Kansas City. That's fun. McCutchen hit a home run number 6. Rhys Hoskins hit home run number 10. And Trevor Rogers, that's one of Bobby's faves. And we talked about Trevor Rogers when we did the show last week on the Fantasy Fam. We talked about Trevor Rogers, and Bobby was just saying how much he really likes Trevor Rogers, the way he looks on the mound. His mound presence is good. And he started out, he's rookie. So he started out, he was walking a lot of batters. And then each start that he's made since his debut, he's walked less and less batters. So, 3 runs allowed and only walked. Entering last night, he had 12 strikeouts and 3 runs allowed and only walked 1 in 6 innings. No. I don't know what my notes say. Okay, the first outing, I think it was. Why do I have listen, I got 120 strikeouts on my notes and 3 runs allowed with 1 walk in 6 innings pitched. And then he pitched another. Anyway, regardless of that, my point of what I want to say about Rogers is that he is getting a lot better with his walks. Every start that he makes, he walks less and less batters. Last night, he didn't walk any, which is excellent. So you can't expect everything to come together at once for these youngsters. He only pitched 3 innings, 9 hits, 8 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts, but no walks. That's huge. He did allow 2 home runs, and that's not good. Obviously, the Phillies crushed the Marlins yesterday, but still, he's a good pitcher to watch out for, maybe for next year. In the second game of the doubleheader, we have Miami beating Philly 5-3. The Phillies relievers that we were just talking about, they've thrown the 3rd fewest fastballs, the 3rd fewest in baseball. A fastball is over 94 miles an hour. So they have the 3rd fewest fastballs throwing over 94 miles an hour, and batters are slugging 609 on those fastballs. So it's good that they don't throw the fastball very often because they're just crushing it. More than any other team in baseball. So they don't have a lot of velocity to begin with, and when they do throw for velocity, then it just gets hit out of the ballpark. Zach Wheeler ripped his fingernail yesterday, or whenever we found out yesterday, on his middle finger. So he ripped his fingernail on his middle finger while putting on his jeans, and they aren't sure if he'll be able to save the fingernail, and they don't know when or if he's going to be able to pitch again this season. Too bad for Zach Wheeler, people. The Marlins are 21-20 now. They moved to within a half a game of the Phillies. So this series is pretty important. The Phillies are 22-20. So these two are competing for second place in the National League East. The Marlins have won 2 of the first 3 in their 7-game series. With the Phillies, not anymore. So now they did win 2 of the first 3, right? Do they have 5 more games against the Phillies? Brandon Kinsler, it's weird because they said Yimi Garcia came in and got the save yesterday because Brandon Kinsler was also dealing with a fingernail problem. But he came in and pitched the inning before Yimi Garcia pitched, so I don't really know how bad his fingernail issue is. Blake Parker, opener yesterday. 2 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts. He has a 2.13 ERA. Remember when he was a great closer one year? Lewis Brinson is starting to heat up. He's actually, like, after all these years trying to hit the ball, he's starting to hit. He hasn't had much success on pitches located in this particular zone. In fact, I think that he's had 16 major league home runs, and only 2 of them have been hit out of the zone that he hit it from yesterday. So he had a 178 batting average entering the game, and that's overall. But yesterday, when he entered the game, he was hitting 321 with a 607 slugging percentage over 12 games. He's starting to get more opportunities against right-handed batters. He was only being put in the lineup against lefties, but management has been bragging about him, says he's coming around. He's pretty stoked about being able to hit above 200, the Mendoza line. So Lewis Brinson is just not reliable for fantasy at this point, but could be eventually. He's running out of time. So Monty Harrison stole a base yesterday, his 3rd stolen base. And like I said, Brinson hit a home run. That was number 3 on the season. Moving on to Washington. Do we really need to ignore this year's stats for next year? That's what our friend in the chat room, Al Cola, says. What do we go by then? I mean, you have to go by something for next year. And I would say my opinion, just my opinion, would be that I may not put as much into the stats for this year. When I do make my, player values next year, like, when am I going to draft somebody? But it does still matter because you see growth. You're seeing growth in players such as Lewis Brinson or other players that have shown growth this year. Like, it's something, you have to look at something headed into the season next year. But you're right. I would probably put a lot less into that. Ronald Acuna Jr., we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves and the Nationals. There's 2, I believe that, did they have 2? No, this game went 12 innings. So Washington does squeeze out a win yesterday against Atlanta. And look at Washington's only 17-26. Atlanta's 26-19. So they're not even going to come close to catching up with them. But Ronald Acuna Jr. can't put any weight on his left foot. He was helped off of the field and then helped down the dugout steps. We don't know if it's serious. We could tell yesterday that he was in pain when he was, like, getting helped off the field. But Snicker. Anyway, management thinks that he could be ready to play again tomorrow. They think he might have fouled a pitch off of his nerve. Ouch. But by the time he got to the clubhouse, they said that he was walking around without any help. And so that's a good sign. There was a lot of pitching going on yesterday. Of course, there's 12 innings. And the Nationals entered the 9th inning, I believe, with 3 runs, a 3-run lead. Daniel Hudson was horrible. Allowed them to push the game into extra innings. And then Michael Failure, otherwise known as Michael A. Taylor, he got a walk-off win in 12. That's Michael Taylor's the worst. I've just been burned by him several times. And I actually told one of our good friends to trade for him. And it was a horrible, I think I ruined his entire year for that advice, which he still comes to get advice from me, which is unbelievable. So cheers, Michael Johnson. Thanks for still believing in me. Daniel Hudson's been horrible. I don't think that he's really reliable for saves at this point. Who knows what they're going to do with him? But they have a couple other relievers that they could try out as, in save situations. But Daniel Hudson's just been pretty horrible, and I just won't put him active. I have him on several of my rosters, and I try to avoid using him at this point. Josh Tomlin, right? Josh Tomlin is back. What? 4 innings, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 strikeouts. He actually was pitching well in the bullpen. He was pitching, and then he came out of the bullpen and he had his best start of the season last Sunday when he allowed only 1 run in 6 innings, but not so good yesterday. Marcell Ozuna had 5 hits yesterday. Ozzie Albies stole a base, and Cole Hamels is expected to come back next week. They're paying him a lot of money, so, it'd be good if he did come back. I don't think he ever pitched this season, did he? He's got a tricep injury, but he's expected back next week. The Braves, listen to this tidbit that Lenny shared with me. The Braves might hit more home runs in than they 162 games in 2 games. They have 79 home runs through 44 games. That's 1.8 home runs per game. And they'll need 22 home runs over the final 16 games, which is a lot. That's asking a lot, which is only 1.4 home runs per game, so less than what they're doing now. And that's what they need. They need 22 home runs over the final 16 games to outdo their entire 2015 season. Okay, that's crazy. Eric Thames hit a home run. That's only number 3 on the season. That's horrible. Trey Turner stole 2 bases for his 9th. He's finally stealing bases. Better late than never, right? Juan Soto stole base number 3. And like I said, Daniel Hudson has been pretty bad. He is now allowed a run in 3 of his past 6 appearances, and we're unsure of what his role is going to be moving forward. Yeah, Hudson. Good morning, Malpal. Gallo, have a great day golfing. Yeah, this the cancellation of the San Diego, San Francisco games, it does hurt. It really hurts. It hurts. I mean, you remember when St. Louis was postponing their games and you had guys like Paul DeJong who's just sitting there and they're not hitting anything, and you're thinking like, man, these guys are having such a bad season, but really they just hadn't played any games. And it just feels like it was a lot less, because you knew that the games were going to be made up. You knew that you were going to eventually be able to get like double headers, and you were going to be able to make those up. In points league, it hurt worse than roto leagues, of course, but I don't think that it hurts nearly as bad as the San Francisco San Diego game, especially, if you have guys like Tatis, and it's just not a great time of the season to be pushing games off. That's for sure. 18-1, the Mets. The Mets they beat the Buffalo Toronto Blue Jays 18-1. 10 runs they scored in the 4th inning, 4 runs in the 3rd inning, and then they scored in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. And the only time the Blue Jays scored at all was in the 1st inning. So, I mean, the Mets pretty much scored all of their hits. They had 19 hits and scored 18 runs. And also the Blue Jays made 2 errors yesterday too. So, Jacob deGrom, he's right up at the top as always with his ERA. He's got a 1.73 ERA and 78 strikeouts. The Mets' 17 runs are their most in any game started by Jacob deGrom in his career. They don't like to give him a lot of run support. Sorry, I got to fix this. Okay. I don't know, whatever. Okay. Let's see what we got. The Mets' 17 runs are the most. Okay, yes, against, and they don't like to give him run support. So, I mean, he's actually, I'm sure he's very pleased. They actually moved his start forward a day to maximize his starts for the rest of the season. And obviously, Buffalo is very hitter friendly. Michael Conforto hit his 9th home run. He got 4 RBIs yesterday, putting him at 31 RBIs. He's having a great season. Definitely trust that going into next year for sure. Dominic Smith hit his 8th home run, and Wilson Ramos hit home run number 4. Chase Anderson only made it through 2 2/3 innings, 4 earned runs. He walked 3 in 2 innings, 4 strikeouts, and 1 home run allowed. He has a 5.81 ERA on the season. Like last outing versus Boston, he allowed 6 runs on 9 hits. And I mean, I was reading the previews of yesterday's games, and it was saying that he should have a fresh bullpen heading into yesterday. And I thought, okay, that's good, And then he only makes it 2 2/3. So, yeah, the bullpen was a necessity, that's for sure. Another blowout, the Rays and the Red Sox. The poor Red Sox. They lose. Tampa Bay beats Boston 11-1. And the runs were pretty much just they were all over the place. They were in the second, the third. They scored in all but 2 innings. 9 left bats in the Rays lineup. 9 left-handed bats. That is the first time in Major League Baseball history, going back to at least in this century, 1901, that a team has started 9 lefties in the same game. Good tidbit, Leonard. Thank you for that. Chris Sale started throwing last week, but I can't even imagine him. He started throwing. He's not coming back this year, but maybe those of you that own him or have him on your team in dynasty leagues, you're stuck with him. That's all I got to say. Bobby Dalbec, he had hit 6 home runs in 10 big league games heading into yesterday. And this guy is like, he's either strikeout or home run. He's 3 true outcomes, that's for sure. I don't know if he even walks, so that I guess that puts that one out of the conversation. But 2/3 of his hits so far have been home runs. Yesterday he got his 10th RBI, and he did hit a double, so he didn't hit a home run yesterday. But 2/3 of his hits are homers. He struck out 19 times in 39 plate appearances. And when you see a guy like this, because I need to pick up, I have 3 injured hitters in Tout Wars. I'm about ready to take over first place if my team can hold up through tomorrow for this week. And I need a couple hitters. I'm looking at the available hitters, and I see Bobby Dalbec is there, Adam Duvall is there. Like there's quite a few players there, but a lot of them are just, Alex Dickerson is there, and you see what Alex Dickerson has done in the past couple weeks, and you say to yourself, gosh, his stats look really good, at least, for the past 7 days or whatever. But one of those days was a 3 home runs in one game. So I think it's important when you see a guy like Rio Ruiz is still there, and you look at the consistency that Ruiz has put together this season versus the crazy, outlandish 3 home runs in a game type, weeks. And Dalbec is about ready to sink like the Titanic. He's about ready to sink because he strikes out way too much, and that is going to catch up with him for sure. There's no doubt about it. I'm not picking up Bobby Dalbec because he's about to be Austin Riley number 2. Austin Riley came up last year, and he hit like 8 home runs in the first 10 or 12 games. And then all of a sudden he didn't hit another home run or even get it like any hits for the rest of the season. They figured him out. He lost it, and that's going to be Bobby Dalbec if he doesn't stop striking out so much. I will tell you that. Maybe not this year. Maybe if I don't pick him up, he will still hit. Believe me. There's only 15 games left in the season, 14 maybe now. So we have another opener here, Andrew Triggs, 1 inning pitched, 1 walk, and then just whatever, Boston's horrible. Rafael Devers is on a tear. The last 21 games, he's hitting .365 with 8 home runs and a 1.154 OPS. And he's, obviously Rafael Devers is great, and Verdugo is batting leadoff. I like him too. I choose him a lot in daily game. I really do, because he can absolutely hit. This Verdugo cat going into next year. I'm telling you, Verdugo is a good hitter. He's got good plate discipline. His batting average is good. He has lots of power, and if the Red Sox can pull it together a little bit, he will be great for scoring runs and hitting home runs in the leadoff spot. Blake Snell, 5 1/3 innings. Entering yesterday, he had a 3.74 ERA. He was 3-1 with 45 strikeouts in 33 2/3 innings. So he definitely is striking out batters. That's what we like to see out of Blake Snell. Last Saturday, though, he allowed 4 earned runs over 5 innings against Miami. So that was his last outing before yesterday. He did make it through 5 1/3, struck out 5. That's good enough. Both Brandon Lau and Nate Lowe, let's see, one of them hit 2 home runs and one of them stole 2 bases. I think Brandon Lau stole 2 bases and Nate Lowe hit 2 homers. And you haven't seen his name all year. You haven't seen him playing at all. Sugo hit his 7th home run. He's turning out to be okay, much better than Shogo Akiyama turned out to be so far, which is not good at all. And Sugo drove in 2 yesterday for his 21st RBI. Alfaro or Jacob Stallings to replace Bart. I refuse to roster Ramos. It hurts us in head-to-head. I would probably choose Jacob Stallings. Only because I recently was looking at Alfaro and noticed that I think he hit his first home run of the season just a couple days ago. I could be wrong on that, but I would take Jacob Stallings for sure. Rotorius, nice to see you. Eddie Heckman's here. Good to see you too. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. So Kansas City beat Pittsburgh 4-3. Both teams got 7 hits. You had Steven Brault against Chris Bubic, who Bubic, he's 1-5 now. So it was his first win yesterday, but he still don't think he had great command or control, because he didn't. He even admitted that his command was horrible. The good thing about a pitcher like this, even though the numbers don't say that he's an excellent command or control guy, the thing is that he had all kinds of situations where he was having runners all over the base paths. Like, he would get into situations where he would have runners on first, second, and he would pull himself out of those situations, which I think it says something about mound presence, the ability to be able to pitch yourself out of situations that could be very harmful. And I think that it just shows grit, shows resilience. So that we can compliment him on, because he had runners all over the place. On the other side, you had Josh Bell, right? Josh Bell hit his 5th home run yesterday. I am so mad at Josh Bell. I will never draft him again. I never drafted him before this year, but I drafted him on a couple teams this year, and he has been such a disappointment. In fact, I dropped him I didn't even try to trade him. That's how bad he's been. He's only has 2 RBIs yesterday, got him up to 16 RBIs on the season. Imagine that. So this guy has not been good. These are the types of things. Do you hold it against a player next year, Josh Bell? I would say that I can't help it. I can't help holding it against him. I will, when you get burned by a player, you don't forget it that easy. It's easy to, if you didn't draft the guy and you go, oh, Josh Bell, he's a good player. Maybe he's just had an off season last year, and we can totally forgive him for that. But if you do have him, if you do draft him, you just aren't going to do it again. You just aren't going to draft him again. And Anyway, I forgive him, but I won't be drafting him next season. I don't really understand what happened to him. Cabrian Hayes, batting third in the lineup, stole a base. In his 8th career Major League game, it's the earliest in a career a Pirates batter hit third since M.L. Brown in 1997. I don't really care. All I know is that he's hitting very good. Mondesi hit a home run. Greg Holland got a save yesterday, or right? Was it Greg? I think he's the closer now. Again. Tell me in the chat room what's up. But this is Greg Holland, I believe. Got his 4th save yesterday. 1 inning pitch, struck out 2. What are you laughing at? Malpal's not going to discount Bell. See, that's because you didn't draft him this year, I bet you. Malpal, did you draft Josh Bell this year? Because you're not going to discount Bell for next year. This year's a mulligan. I agree. I understand. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. Holland closer. Greg Holland. Yeah. Anyway, there's a couple different situations where the closing role is changing at the moment, and I'll go over those after we're done with the games here. Mondesi, 3rd home run, 12th RBI, 400 feet to left field. He now has an 8-game hitting streak. He has 3 home runs in those 8 games, and he also walked twice, stole 2 bases, and scored 3 runs. So what a great day to have Mondesi in your DFS lineup. He could be next year's Whip Myers, yes. Whip Myers is better than I have ever given him credit for, really. For the most part, he's been better than I've given him credit for ever. Oakland at Texas. The A's, another blowout, pretty much, 10-6. Oakland beats the Texas Rangers 10-6. One thing about AJ Puck, he is, he was the top pick in the draft in 2016. He has to go for surgery. So Bob Melvin said on a video call yesterday that he's going to have shoulder surgery with some really highly rated doctor who also performed his Tommy John surgery in 2018. So he had 2018 Tommy John. Now he's got shoulder surgery. Everybody wants to be excited about AJ Puck, but he is a ways away. And then Matt Chapman is getting a second opinion on his right hip tendonitis. He's getting a second opinion from a renowned hip expert. So, okay. Mike Fiers, he entered yesterday 3-1 with a 3.22 ERA over his last 4 games started. The A's pretty much win when he's on the mound. They're 6-2 entering yesterday. Now, did he get a win yesterday? Yes, he got another win. So he is now 5-2 on the season. The Athletics are 7-2 when Mike Fiers is on the mound, and he did good. He walked 2, made it through 6 innings, 1 home run allowed, 5 strikeouts, 5.06 ERA. So not great overall, but Matt Olson, love it. Another home run yesterday and 5 RBIs. Now he has 36 on the season. Matt Olson is having a good season. Sean Murphy is hitting finally. Maybe Sean Murphy's available. Okay, maybe he's available. I don't know. I mean, I've come close to actually getting rid of him too, because when you have Mitch Garver and Sean Murphy as your catchers, it's so frustrating, the catcher situation this year. But he's got 5 home runs now. His RBIs are up to 10. And Robbie Grossman hit a home run, number 5. Luis Garcia, ouch, okay? He only batted, I think he faced 4 batters, 1 home run allowed, 3 walks, 4 earned runs, and he actually is only just the opener for Jordan Lyles, who comes in and gets it done, okay? Jordan Lyles could be a guy, he came in after Luis Garcia was done, and he pitched 7 innings. So But the best thing about this idea is that, number one, if you take him in daily games, you know that he's going to be extremely cheap. Number two, he only has to pitch like few pitches to earn a win in case that opportunity does arise. So like, even though he went 7 innings, he only would have had to go like 1 inning to get a win, to qualify for a win at least. And if you're looking to pick up pitching this, tomorrow, I think Lenny's going to do his show at 9 in the morning. I'm going to come on after him. We're going to talk waiver wire pickups tomorrow morning. I meant to do that today, but I just got sidetracked as always. So, but Jordan Lyles could be somebody to look at. I don't know. I'm obviously not even that convinced. I just think it's great. The situation where the pitcher has an opener come in before him, so he doesn't have to pitch all these innings to qualify for a win. And I would love to find a pitcher like Jordan Lyles who is going to come in after the opener and actually pitch well. So I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell. Like, it's really, you can't really, you can't bet on it right now. I think that the opener is being used all over the place still. So it would be nice to be able to, like yesterday, going into yesterday, it was like, okay, this is the second time that Luis Garcia is opening for Jordan Lyles. So it was made very clear that Jordan Lyles was going to be coming in after Luis Garcia. Probably came in earlier than expected, right? Because Luis Garcia just got pummeled. Four earned runs in the first, 3 runs in the second. So Oakland scored 7 runs by the third inning. Oscar Taveras stole his 4th base. Elvis Andrus hit a home run, number 3. He got his 7th RBI. Where's he been? Rougned Odor, where's he been? Home run number 4, 2 RBIs for 14 total. Moving on to Cleveland at Minnesota, Shane Bieber. He struck out at least 8 batters in each of his first 10 starts this season. I think he's the first, the second longest streak of games with at least 8 strikeouts to start a season since at least 1901. There was one pitcher who went longer. Okay. The second longest streak of games with at least 8 strikeouts to start a season in each game. There's only one pitcher who had more strikeout, a longer streak than that. He went 15 games with at least 8 strikeouts to start a season. Tell me which pitcher it is. We all know him. It was right around the year 2000. It was like right around then that this pitcher was doing this. So I want some guesses in the chat room, please. Everybody gets Tommy John surgery. Some kids are getting them in high school. Like, the earlier the better, in my opinion. Murphy is gone in my league, and he says he's struggling about whether or not he should drop Buehler. What can you get for Buehler? You have to say, what can you replace him with? Yes, it was. It's Randy Johnson. You're right. Randy Johnson. He went 15 straight starts with at least 8 strikeouts to start the season. He has a 1.59 ERA in the last 17 innings that was entering yesterday. And just Bieber. What's up? He's pitching great, but he did allow 2 home runs yesterday. He still has a 1.53 ERA. Franmil hit a double. Franmil's frustrating most of the time. Jose Ramirez hit his 10th home run yesterday and drove in his number 27 RBI. It was big unit. It was Randy Johnson, so you don't have to guess anymore. Sean Manaea. At this point, I would say that it's safe to drop Buehler. I hate saying that because I actually took advantage of somebody that dropped him earlier this season. But a blister, I don't know, man. That's tough. There's only 15 games left in the season, but the Dodgers are probably going to make it to the playoffs. So, obviously fantasy is going to end when baseball regular season ends. That's tough. Malpow, what do you think he should do with Buehler? Lenny, what do you think he should do with Buehler? Pay attention. Kenta Maeda, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He's doing well too, pitching well. 2.43 ERA. Byron Buxton hit his 7th home run. I love Byron Buxton. I'll probably never get over Byron Buxton. The unfortunate thing for me is that I don't even roster him on any team this year. I did not draft him at all, even though I've been a Buxton fan for years, believing in him. I'm glad to see him doing well. I'm glad to see him staying off the injured list. Lenny says drop Bueller. I tend to agree with that. For anybody that pitches, really. All right, moving along here. White Sox scored 4 runs in the 6th inning against the Detroit Tigers. They beat the Tigers by 1 run. Nothing happened in this entire game until the 7th or 6th inning. In the 6th inning, Detroit scored 3, and then the White Sox scored 4, and that was it. 1 inning of action. The rest of it was, you were probably snoring by the 6th inning, so you missed it if you were watching this game. They held on from there, the 4-3 victory at Guaranteed Rate Field to maintain sole possession of first place in the American League Central. You got to love this whole race to the finish line in the American League Central. It's really fun to watch. The White Sox are totally deserving of winning this division. I think they are going to win the division. Minnesota beat the Indians yesterday, so the Twins are 1 game behind the Indians, now 2.5 games behind the White Sox, whose magic number to clinch a playoff spot dropped to 9. They're 28-16 on the season. The White Sox are coming up here. They don't have the easiest schedule. They're going to be facing Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Charlie Morton, Sandy Alcantara, and then a couple other Miami pitchers. They're going to miss, though, Sixto Sanchez and Garrett Cole next week. Lucky for them. Casey Mize threw 5 1/3, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, walked 2. He actually faced Chicago White Sox in his debut, which was he made it through 4 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs. And then on Sunday, he faced Minnesota, and he pitched 4 innings and 5 hits allowed. Did Miguel Cabrera steal a base yesterday? I really think it said that. I'm not sure, though. It's hard to believe that Miguel Cabrera is stealing a base, but it did say that whoever this Cabrera is on Detroit Tigers stole their first base of the season. That makes sense, right? You guys tell me if it's Miguel Cabrera. He's been pretty good lately, too. In fact, I mean, Miguel Cabrera is worth taking a glance at right now. Lucas Giolito. Entering yesterday, he had a 4.17 ERA versus the Tigers and a 1.71 ERA and 31 strikeouts in 21 innings pitched in 3 home starts this season. So he did battle through 5 2/3, and he needed 114 pitches to get through that. And in the 6th inning was really bad for Giolito. The Tigers obviously scored 3. And Giolito, that ended his 22-inning scoreless streak at home. He walked 4. He struck out 7. He has 82 strikeouts through 10 starts, the highest strikeout total by any White Sox pitcher through his first 10 appearances of a season. So that's pretty good. Chris Sale had he held that record before with 79 strikeouts in 2015. So Giolito is having a good season. I would say that the most underrated pitcher or closer is Alex Colomé. Since 2019, he has a 1.59 ERA and 40 of 44 successful save opportunities. He just knows how to get it done. So Big Al's back. Yes, F coronavirus, Big Al. I agree with you, okay? F coronavirus. Anyway, Colomé, good. Eloy Jimenez, 12th home run yesterday, his 33rd RBI. Jose Abreu ended his 22. This was a career-high 22-game hit streak over for Jose Abreu, but still, we know how good he's doing. He's having a great season. Super happy for him. The The Brewers and the Milwaukee, what a boring game this was too. Nobody scored in this game until the ninth inning, the bottom of the ninth. The Brewers scored 1 run in the bottom of the ninth, and that's the game. They have actually rebounded from 3 straight losses with 2 consecutive wins, 21 hits, and set a franchise record with 13 extra base hits and a 19-0 win over the Tigers on Wednesday, and then returned from an off day to win Friday with a double and 3 singles. So John Lester threw 6 innings. His ERA is over 5, and it's not going to go down from there. Like, this is obviously the tail end of his career. Last outing, entering yesterday, he had only made it through 3 1/3 and gave up 5 earned runs. So he has a 9.26 ERA the last 5 starts. That's not even including yesterday. But Chris Bryant is now back, and Chris Bryant is hitting. He is batting second in the lineup, of course, right behind Ian Happ, who's batting first. Shaman, did you give up Ian Happ? He's batting leadoff. Ian Happ would be so hard to give up. I understand that you had a ton of outfielders, but it's hard to give up Ian Happ right now. He's the only one that got a hit off Brandon. 7 hit, allowed 3.40 ERA, tied his career high with 12 strikeouts. The 5th inning has not been good for Woodruff, but this is a guy, he's so tough on himself, Brandon Woodruff. He is always he's always feeling disappointed and like he needs to work harder and do more. And he's just, I don't know how to explain, but when you read highlights of the game, you listen to what he talks about to reporters after the games that he starts and stuff. He's always like, I could have done better. I'm frustrated. He's frustrated that he hasn't been able to make it through the 5th inning very successfully. So yesterday, he did get through the 5th. Obviously, he pitched 7. The 7th inning only took him 11 pitches. 11 pitches. 6 of them were four-seam fastballs, including the final pitch to all 3 batters that he faced in the 7th. So he should have been feeling pretty good about himself after yesterday. Carlos Martinez we're moving on to the Cincinnati-St. Louis game. Carlos Martinez is going to pitch tomorrow against the Reds. He came off the injured list last outing, 5 days ago, whatever. He only threw like 3 innings. So you can't expect him to, who knows if he will even get completely stretched out by the end of the season. The Reds, beat the Cardinals 3-1. They're 20-25, and they're 2.5 games behind the Cardinals for second place in the National League Central. The first and second place teams from every division is going to make the expanded postseason. So, and also 2 wild cards from each league too. So you have 16 teams going to the postseason, which, you know what, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's great fun. I think this season has been fun. I think that when you condense a season like this, it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's more exciting every week. In Tout Wars, I'm having the most fun of any, probably because I'm doing well in that league, but I'm having a lot of fun in that league. It's like instead of playing head-to-head points, we're doing each week is you go up not just against one matchup, one other manager, but you go up against the entire 11 other owners. So like you get roto points based on where you finish that week. So if you get the most points in the week of anybody in the league, then you get 12 points, 11 points, 10 points all the way down to 1 point. So you definitely can make up for lost time if you do really well in a week. And so it's just been really fun. I feel like it's more exciting. I know that there's good and bad with it, but I definitely think that it's been a fun, exciting season. Luis Castillo, 9 innings yesterday, 2 hits, 1 earned run. He walked 3. That was his first career complete game. And in the 7th and 8th innings, he only needed 16 total pitches, which gave him just 96 pitches heading into the 9th. And, probably ease some stress from pitching coaches everywhere. But he's the first Reds starting pitcher to pitch a complete game since who? Who do you think was the last Reds starting pitcher to throw a complete game? I'll give you some chances to guess. Morning, Tina. Tina? I don't know who Tina is, but Lenny likes to flirt, so. Anyway, I should check the stream for. Hey, Bobby. Good morning, Bobby. Nice to see you. I don't know. I must have been reading your mind because I just decided to go over and look at the comments. We were talking about your boy, Miami pitcher, earlier, so you missed out on that. Anyway, going back to the chat room. Cueto, no, not Cueto, but good guess. That's a good guess. Joey Votto has 208 career hits against St. Louis heading into yesterday. That's why I put him on my DFS team yesterday. And, of course, he did come around. He hit a home run in the first inning, with an exit velocity of 113.2 miles per hour, okay? The ball traveled 442 feet, and it was the hardest hit home run by Joey Votto since StatCast began tracking in 2015, and his second longest. So his hardest hit and second longest home run since 2015 was yesterday in the first inning, and he just crushes St. Louis Cardinals. He just does. He's 37 years old, so not Tom Seaver, not Mario Soto. Should I tell you? You'll probably never guess it, but it's fun. It was in 2017. I'll give you that. 2017 was the last time a starting pitcher in Cincinnati pitched a complete game, threw a complete game, whatever. Akiyama, what a disappointment Shogo Akiyama is. Will I hold it against him next year? I don't know if I will. He did so good. Okay, he did so good before he came over here. He played in every game for like 4 years straight. He never missed time. He was very reliable. I thought he was such a sneaky good pick heading into this season, but he has been pretty much a disappointment. He got caught stealing yesterday. That was only the first time he got caught stealing, but he's just not doing anything other than stealing like a couple bases here and there, and his batting average is absolutely horrible. It wasn't Homer Bailey. Adam Wainwright threw 6 innings yesterday. Adam Wainwright is not having a bad season. I will tell you that. He should totally retire after this year because you always want to go out on a good note. Like, he's had such a good career and he's been just mediocre the last couple years. He's got a 2.91 ERA on the season, and that's pretty good. Okay, that's pretty good. I think he should. I actually picked him up in labor, and I picked him up quite a while ago, weeks ago, and I haven't been disappointed. I just set him and forget him, and that's so nice, to be able to do. You don't have to babysit Wainwright. Nearly had his second consecutive complete game. He made it through 6 1/3 versus Chicago in a doubleheader last Saturday. 2 earned runs, 6 hits, and 6 strikeouts. Yesterday, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Just doing what he does. 9 out of 10 dentists say don't draft Japanese players. I agree. It was actually Scott Feldman who was the last Reds pitcher, which it's not a great question, I know, but it's the one I had. Moving on, we're almost done. Okay, this is Los Angeles played at Colorado. You have Daniel Bard got a win yesterday. He's 3-2 now. Anyway, Canning, 5 2/3, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, walked 1. Last Saturday when he faced Houston, 4 earned runs in 4 innings pitched. These two outings came after the best start of the season versus Seattle, but okay, I'm not going to give him a ton of credits for beating Seattle up. Jared Walsh has been hitting. He had an 8th inning home run yesterday. Anthony Bemboom, another catcher, right? he hit a home run in the 9th inning, and Ty Buttrey got a loss and a blown save, 4th blown save of the season. German Marquez, 7 innings pitched. This is actually the Rockies' final home series, okay? And Marquez is so much better on the road. He had, entering yesterday, he had a 7 ERA at home and a 2.64 on the road. So this is the Rockies' final homestand. The rest of the games they'll be playing on the road. So Marquez might be okay from here on out. Ryan McMahon hit a home run in the 9th inning, and Blackman hit a grand slam walk-off. A walk-off grand slam. Michael Givens, blown save, first blown save. Ramiel Tapia, he's batting leadoff. He stole his 5th base. Speaking of Johnny Cueto, San Francisco at San Diego. Oh, wait. That never happened. So I just have a couple notes about the San Francisco-San Diego game that I put together before the game yesterday. I said earlier, Alex Dickerson, the one good thing about Alex Dickerson is that he doesn't strike out. Like, he doesn't have any trouble with strikeouts. But ever since he hit that 3 home run game, he's really not been hitting very often. He's really not been getting a lot of at-bats. Like, since the 5th of September, he only has 2 at-bats or fewer, like 2 or 1 at-bats per game for the last week, almost week straight. So I just don't know why. Like, before September 5th, he was getting 4 at-bats, 5 at-bats every game. Now he's only getting like 1 or 2. So just don't get, caught up with Alex Dickerson's current stats, his recent stats, because that one game put him over the top, and I just don't rely on this a lot. I do give him credit for not striking out very often. He very rarely strikes out, so I'll give him credit for that. Garrett Richards, Malpal, what do you think of Garrett Richards going into this late in the season, off season? Garrett Richards could be very helpful for the Padres. He's got a 2.53 ERA in his last 2 games started. So moving on to Seattle, Arizona. Arizona beat Seattle 4-3. Kikuchi lost. He was actually starting to come around. It looked like he was actually starting to come around. He did make it through 6 innings yesterday, but 4 earned runs and 5 strikeouts. He won his past 2 starts. He allowed 1 earned run on 2 hits versus Texas in his last outing before yesterday. And he didn't walk any batters in his last 11 innings pitched, which I don't think he walked a batter yesterday too. I'll have to be double checked on that one, but I really don't think he walked any batters yesterday. So he is now no walks in his last 17 innings. Kikuchi is coming around. I would say he could be a great sleeper for next year. The Mariners outrighted Malik Smith finally to AAA Tacoma, which continues just to put a spotlight on how bad of a season. I mean, he opened the year as the starting right fielder. He was optioned on August 18th after hitting 133 in 14 games. Now he's off the 40-man roster altogether. And the best hitter for the Mariners in the past 2 weeks with the minimum of 7 games played and 30 plate appearances is Jose Marmolejos. He's batting .300 with a 131 weighted runs created, and he could be somebody worth interest this, tomorrow when you make pickups. So he's been hitting. A lot of the Seattle guys, they don't have a problem letting their youngsters hit and putting them into games, giving them opportunities, because they were planning on doing that anyways throughout the whole season. So Dylan Moore is back, 7th home run, RBI, okay, his 15th RBI, 10th stolen base. He bats leadoff. He's been unbelievable. Like, he just came back from injury, I believe, because he was out from August 25th to August 31st, no games. I don't really know exactly why that happened. Maybe, who knows? But he's not available in anybody's league. Caleb Smith, 3 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 1 walk, struck out 3. Alex Young pitched 5 innings. Okay, he got the win. 2 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, and a strikeout. Nick Ahmed stole third base. Akiyama, we already talked about him. He is stealing a base. The Brewers set the franchise record with 13 extra base hits, 8 doubles, 5 homers. They now have an 11-game homestand, okay, starting with 8 games in 6 days versus the Cubbies and St. Louis. These are old games. We're going into old games now. So, the other night, Corbin Burns, I think he is throwing lots of strikes, right? He is pitching very well, Corbin Burns. Okay, so I was going to talk to you guys about some closer situations here that I have, I think. Yeah. Hudson. We already talked about him. His job is on the line, and I wouldn't even put him in as active. But in Arizona, I don't know how to say his name yet. Crichton. He got the final 2 outs for a save in Arizona yesterday, which bothers me because Kevin Ginkel is supposed to be the closer there. After Bradley was dealt, they say that the job was wide open, but I still do believe that Ginkel has a better chance of getting saves. But here's a guy in Arizona. And then, of course, Yimi Garcia came in to get the save yesterday for the Marlins, but Kinsler is obviously not hurting that bad because he did come in and pitch right before Garcia did. So Greg Holland appears to be locked into the closer's role after getting a save with a perfect inning pitched. Barlow worked the 8th but struggled, and then Stama in 7th. And I would say Holland has the best chance of getting saves going forward. That's it. We talked about Matt Chapman's tendonitis, and what else? Richards has some risk, but you're sticking with him. Yes. Okay. So who's gonna win this? Who's gonna win this year? I would say who's gonna make it to the World Series? I'm gonna go with the White Sox and the Padres. That's my bet. So I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Lenny will be here at 9 a.m. We'll go over box scores and we'll talk about waiver wire pickups tomorrow. And have a great day, everybody.